Okay, so hello everyone. I'll just start. My name is Michael. Oh, we lost someone. Um,
I just spotlighted you
oh,
just
just put me for
yeah,
okay, okay,
for the recording, so you can just
okay,
go to a gallery view if you want.
okay. So maybe I'll do that because I don't need to look at my own face. Um, so yeah, my name's Michael. I live in Portland, Oregon, and um, it's nice to be here. Nice to see you. Just keep in mind that being recorded. So if what just be aware of what you say.
Yeah, but
If you
your faces will not be in recording because Michael's spotlighted.
oh,
His
okay,
face will be the only face on the recording. So
but your voice will be, so what you say could be recorded. So maybe let's just start with a little meditation, actually, just to calm our minds and set our motivations. And then I'll open it up for discussion. I remember where we left off last time, so maybe I'll start there, but we'll see what comes up. So, in the beginning, then just get into some basic meditation posture. So either you're on a cushion and your legs are crossed, or you're in a chair like I am. And the most essential parts are keeping your spine kind of naturally straight. It doesn't need to be rigid, but just naturally kind of straight. And your eyes, uh, softly closed, maybe even a little bit open. And then bring your attention to your breath, either the air coming in and out of your nostrils or your belly rising up and down, just whichever of those makes sense to you. And we'll just watch the breath where you go in and out, where your belly just rise and fall. And then if your mind's relaxed in any way or calm down, then adjust, check in with your motivation for coming here. And if it isn't one of the motivations that's articulated in the Lam Rim, then see if you can adjust to at least to get to one of those kinds of motivations. So the lower scope motivation is to have a future life that's to benefit a future life, to have a better future life. And then the medium scope motivation is to transcend samsaric suffering. And then the great scope motivation is to become fully developed, fully enlightened for the benefit of others. So trying to adjust your motivation for being here to be as expansive as you can reasonably muster. Not just for the benefit of, not just short-term benefit, but long-term benefit. So not just short-term benefit for self, but long-term benefit for self. Not just short-term benefit for others, but long-term benefit for others. And then when you're ready, we'll just open our eyes and begin. So I know where we ended off last week, but I'm also happy to open things up if someone has something pressing on their mind. And I don't know if everyone's actually been here before. So this is it's a very group participatory. So Krista and Tanya and David, have you been here before?
No, not to this. Not to this one. I may have misunderstood what it was. I thought maybe this was a, I don't know, like a self-contained 1 hour something, but it must be a series.
No, it's not totally a series. It's a group. It's like a group discussion. I'm just giving a gentle continuity,
Oh,
just in case it's helpful. But
yeah.
it is. It's not really a lecture on my side. It's more like a group discussion.
Yeah.
But have you been to events through Tuptu Norbuling before, or?
I've been to Yesh's share of events in Denver when he comes to Denver.
Ah, okay.
I'm in Denver, and I was just in one of his classes last night online.
Okay, great. Okay, so you have some background.
Mhm.
Okay, that helps me. What about you, Chris? Have you been to these before?
I have not. This is new for
Oh,
me.
okay, welcome.
Thank you.
And have you been to any Buddhist events before, or what's your sort of background? It just helps me know who I'm talking to.
Yeah, one of my close friends in high school, her whole family is Buddhist, and so I went to a New Year's celebration.
Oh,
I don't necessarily know anything about it. The only thing I learned was we did a phrase, Nam-myoho Renge Kyo.
Okay. Yeah.
And
Okay.
we just chanted that. And that's,
Mm-hmm.
18-year-old me brain, that's the only thing I really remembered from
Oh
doing that.
no, that's a good that's a good memory. Okay, so it's a different type of Buddhism. Yeah, but yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's the only that's it, the end.
great. Okay, great. And what about you, Tanya? I don't know if you're able to talk, if you're, sometimes people are at work just listening or.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, this is my first time here.
Oh, okay. So have you been to Buddhist stuff in the past or?
Yeah, sometimes I listen to podcasts.
Oh,
I forgot the guy's name. He talks about secular Buddhism.
okay. It could be a few people, but okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay. And then, so do and Tracy I saw last time, I think. Is that true? Okay. So this group is pretty free form. It can have as much structure as little as you want. What were you all hoping to get out of today?
I looked at it and it looked like it was the first course in an overall curriculum that a person went through, but
Maybe it was something, a different course. We don't have Venerable Dundra up here. Yeah, there's no curriculum. This
oh, okay.
one's definitely more like just community building, asking questions that are.
Yeah, I thought I was tuning into therapist or something like that, a specific thing.
Yeah, there might be things that are similarly named or something.
Okay.
I wonder if that's what it is. I don't know. I'd have to look it up for you. What about, so sorry about that.
No worries.
And don't feel like you can go if you want, if this isn't what you're looking for. No one's going to be offended. I just want to let you know that.
Sure.
And what about Krista and Tanya? Were you, are you in the right place?
I'm
Yeah,
sorry, I joined a little bit late.
Okay.
Go ahead, Krista.
No, you're good. Go for it, girl.
Yeah, so actually, I'm not sure what this group is about.
Okay.
As the title said, be your own therapist. So I thought this would be like training your mind to be in a
Okay.
peaceful state. So something
Okay.
along those lines.
Great. Okay. Yeah. What about you, Krista?
I also similar saw the title of the Be Your Own Therapist. And,
Okay.
and so
No worries.
I was on the same page. I was like, yeah, like let's learn about like being able to learn different tactics for like
Great.
processing emotions and kind of thinking through things and tapping into like a deeper understanding of like why we react the way we do, et cetera, other things that like therapists are supposed to help guide you through.
Mm-hmm. Great. Okay. Yes, that helps. Okay. Well, let's start maybe with a meditation, a short meditation, and then we can move into some sort of discussion about it and see how it goes. And then now I'm aware of everyone's kind of where they're coming from. So in the beginning, sit with some kind of basic meditation posture. So you're either on a cushion or in your chair, like we were before. And bring your attention to your breath. You're just watching the mere sensation of air coming in and out of your nostrils. And we'll just do this for 30 seconds, a minute, to calm down the mind. And then in the space in front of you, visualize someone you feel closeness to, or friendship or love. And try and get a sense in your body and in your mind what that feels like when you see them. So it could be a partner or a parent or a friend or anyone where you consider them close or a friend or you're just observing how you feel when you visualize them. And then I want you to let that kind of image fade. And in the space in front of you, generate someone you consider a neutral person, someone you've seen in your life, a real person, but you don't have any strong feelings, negative or positive toward, like a store clerk or a neighbor. And then get a sense in your mind how you feel. How do you feel in your body? How do you feel in your mind towards this stranger? And then you can let that image fade as well. And then in this space, allow someone who you feel negative towards, an enemy of sorts. Don't choose someone that's too intense for you, just someone who's you don't particularly want to hang out with. And feel what you feel in your body, or notice what you feel in your mind towards this enemy or this And allow that image to fade. And then in this space, imagine all three of those people. So we'll call them a friend, enemy, and stranger. Allow them to arise in front of you. And think to yourself, who do I want to spend time with? Who do I want to run away from? Who am I inclined to be generous towards? Who do I want to harm? Just notice the way you feel in your body and mind as you move between friend, enemy, and stranger. And then think, how fragile these designations are. How changeable they are. So your loved one or friend was once a stranger. Your enemy was once a stranger, unknown to you, or someone you didn't think about very much in particular. Sometimes your enemy was once your friend. Occasionally, friends were people you didn't like when you first met them, or they were enemies. And think that all these three beings, they all want to be happy in their own way. Think all these beings that want to be free of various kinds of suffering. You think they're all subject to change and um, death. I think they'll have minds. And those minds are in the nature of experience and are capable of change. They're not fixed. They're all capable of developing their positive human qualities. If they had the right conditions. They're all capable of developing their generosity and ethics and patience and perseverance and concentration. It doesn't mean they have it now, and it doesn't mean it wouldn't take a long time. But they all have the capability, the potential. They'll have the potential to be better. So revisiting those friend, enemy, and stranger, those people. Can you see that those categories or designations are very fragile, that they change over time? Can you see that those beings share the wish to be free from suffering, and they wish to be happy? Can you see that they all have minds? And because they have minds, they're capable of developing those minds. Can you see them all as having the potential, even if unrealized, can you see them as all having the potential to be very generous, very ethical, very patient, very diligent, very concentrated, very wise? And as you think this, how do you feel in your body? How do you feel in your mind? And just explore these ideas for a few minutes more. Whichever idea sticks out to you the most, whichever idea seems most interesting. And crucially, focusing on whichever idea of all the many ideas that I've said that for you helps to equalize your sense of feeling toward these beings. Not in the way that you don't feel anything at all, but just the peaks and valleys of your what word would I use? Of your dislike or like towards others is sort of softened or reduced, so you feel more equal towards others. And then when you're ready, then you allow the image of those people to dissolve. And you can sort of get back into your body. Kind of you're in your whichever room or wherever location you're in, whichever place you're in. And then when you're ready, then you can open your eyes. And then what I'll do for these last 20 minutes is to open up the space, if you will, to discuss what impressions of what we did, thoughts that arose, anything, problems, pleasures, just for a little discussion. Anyone can start.
What I noticed was the energy around the three different people kind of equalized. And I could see how the person that I loved was once a stranger, and then the person that was my enemy was once a stranger, and the stranger had, you know, they all had this great capacities, and they were all subject to death, they're all subject to suffering, they all wanted to be happy. All the feelings around the three people just kind of equalized.
And what did that feel like from your side? Did that feel nice or difficult, or I mean, the experience of
Well,
equalizing?
yeah, I thought that was good, because rather than when I'm thinking about my enemy, rather than kind of my mood going south, my mood kind of just stayed fine. So
Mm, mm. Like so when you thought about what your enemy,
mhm.
it didn't drag you down so much.
Yeah, yeah, or I didn't have a bias toward them.
Mm, yeah,
So,
less of a bias. Yeah. Yeah.
mm.
Anyone else? What about you, Tanya?
Sorry, I was half here, half not. My little kid is running
Oh,
around,
that's okay. That's what happens.
and but initially, when you started, I really thought about it, and I really thought like I don't have an enemy, so um, I didn't know like how to start that exercise.
Mm, yeah, that's fair. Yeah, sometimes it's hard to find people to think about, and
Yeah,
sometimes the word enemy can be very too heavy for people because it's not like we all have a nemesis. Sometimes it's just someone who
yeah,
gets under your skin or
yeah, yeah, yeah.
irritates you. What about you, Krista?
I definitely enjoyed thinking about it. For me, it kind of was coming out in like colors.
Mm,
Where like me and my best friend, like our colors were like making this really cool like swirl, whereas like the person that my quote unquote enemy was kind of coming out of this like weird like tarry, like tar,
mm,
thick goopy
mm-hmm,
black ooze. And I kind of had this like thought of like the swirl of my best friend is creating kind of like a barrier around me and like protecting from this like tar flooding on me.
mm,
I was like, oh yeah, that's pretty fucking cool that like this beauty of a friendship can like stop the harms of a like nasty person in my life.
Mm.
No.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's a way in which our relationships our friendships protect us from our non-friendships. Right. And what did you think about the idea of everyone starting off as a stranger?
I definitely, it forced me to, I focus a lot on like the person that's been giving me grief, and it forced me to kind of remember like, okay, like when I first met them, they were never coming at me with like negative intentions. They weren't like out to get me, they just kind of were selfish, and it wasn't them, again, like putting bad energy towards me. And I like had to like think back of like, oh yeah, like when I first met her, like she was just a neutral person.
Mm-hmm.
So it was cool.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I oftentimes, yeah, it's weird oftentimes people have the experience because emotions can get so strong. It can seem like that person is in a fixed state, like they've always been that way. Like I can't remember a time I didn't like them.
Yeah.
Because it's so powerful. It's like I think I've always hated them actually, because and this is often the case with exes. I mean, with people's exes, it's like there's this kind of feeling like, oh, I think that I've always hated them. And it takes some memory and some effort to be like, you know what, there's actually a time I didn't even know who they were. And sometimes there was a time oftentimes where we were friends, which is what I think you said. There was a time where we were friends. Maybe I didn't read that correctly, but I know in my experience that's happened where people started off as friends and I learned to not like them. And I think the real for me, the strangest sensation is trying to remember people where I didn't like them in the beginning and they turned out to be friends of mine later. Because to me, that's the most mind-boggling conversion that people sometimes make. Like you really got under your skin when you first met them, and they turn out to be some of the best friends you've ever had. I have one friend like that where I instantly didn't like them. So those conversions are kind of a mind bending kind of experience.
Yeah, for sure.
No. And what about you, Tracy, or even Lou?
So no, I totally agree with you, because the person that I thought about in the beginning, I did not like her at all. And same thing, we're just the best of friends now. The unusual thing is, I have a yoga class and all different people came out of that class. So it was really interesting, like watching everybody connect with each other, and like why the person that I don't like really liked the other person that I really like. Like there was so much crossing on who liked who. But I think the main thing just in my life is to think the people that I don't like, that they do want to be happy. And sometimes it takes the, I don't know if you call it hatred or whatever it is, because it's like, hey, they may do something to you, but truly they really want the same things that you do, which is easy to get lost. So that's kind of what I thought.
Yeah. That's, yes, somehow remembering that people don't want to suffer or they want to be happy. It takes the edge off things somehow.
Yeah, because sometimes you just want to personalize it and think they're just doing this to me. Like they just want to make my life miserable, when in reality, they probably don't. They're probably, that just might be their personality, that they're just not happy people, that, you know, they may not communicate well. So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Did anyone else have that experience with?
Similar, but not the same.
Hmm.
A lot of times when I'm looking at a person in that kind of a visualization that I don't get along with, what helps me the most is the realization that that same exact person, somebody thinks they're great.
Ah.
Somebody thinks that's their best friend,
Ah.
and it's the same person. You know, so then you realize I'm calling him or her difficult from my point of view. And that's probably because they've harmed me in some way. They do things and I'm just reflecting it from myself personally. But the person is the same person. And I'm sure there are people, they're nice to people that love them. They have families. It takes the edge off, you know, it's something to work with.
Mm.
Then you have to examine, okay, well, what's so different about me that I'm looking at it this way? So
We'll explain that. Oh, like you're taking
and I'm
responsibility for
taking
your
responsibility
analysis.
for labeling him or her
Mm. Mhm.
enemy. I'm not saying it's not a legitimate label from my point of view, but it is from my point of view.
Mm. Yeah, I thought you mentioned an interesting key point, which is, why do I label someone an enemy? Maybe it's because they've harmed me in some way. And so it's interesting that that designation of enemy is often because I've been harmed. And yet you could have another person who's been benefited by that person. So they would say, you're my friend. And so now you have two people labeling the same object differently based on their own experience with the object. I think that's what I heard you kind of hint at or whatever.
Yes.
That's interesting. So then that raises an interesting question. Whose perspective should we weigh more? Should I weigh my analysis of a person, or should I weigh another person's analysis of a person? Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. But the thing is, you're weighing the analysis instead of just assuming it's a given. And by weighing the analysis, you may realize that if I just adjust my attitude a little bit, or maybe instead of just gnawing at it, just let whatever they did go, or maybe even within myself actually forgive, that it opens up room for changing that label. It may not, you know, some people, it's sometimes it's just not going to work. But unless you question the label, it'll never change.
Mm-hmm.
So
Did
unless
any?
you,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah. You know, right. Yeah. If we analyze and question, maybe there's more space for change. But did anyone wonder why this exercise might be useful to oneself personally? Like, why are we doing this exercise? Did anyone question why are we doing this?
I think just because in the end, like if you're using so much energy not to like this person, where you could use the energy to do something where you do like someone. I know it always makes me feel better if I can benefit someone instead of not like someone. And then I was thinking about something Barbara said last week about not everybody always liking us.
Mm,
To be able to take a look at that. That maybe that person that we don't like doesn't like us for some reason, and that's our reaction to them. You know, so just to kind of look at ourselves.
well, yeah. So yeah, you see some benefit in terms of energy. There's a benefit of bringing things more balanced, but then also it causes the question to arise: well, how do people perceive me, and what's the effect? I mean, I think that's a very interesting place you've taken it. Is we're also being labeled friend, enemy, and stranger by people all day. And what if someone labels us an enemy, for example? How to what degree would we disagree with them, or want to know why? Or I don't know. Does anyone think about that? That there's people that don't like them, although you don't know necessarily that's true. And does it seem fair?
I mean, I guess, yeah. I mean, there's lots of people who don't like me, but when it comes down to it, like, you know, I'm not gonna please everyone. So
Say that again.
like, there's no way everyone's gonna like everyone. So, you know, it is.
True.
What it is.
True. Yeah, you're accepting reality that people dislike. But what did but what but does do you agree with their assessment of you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I personally have a outspoken, loud personality, and I know that I
So you're willing to accept that maybe the label is accurate?
Yes, absolutely.
Are there times where it's inaccurate?
I mean, probably, but I also, I don't know what everyone thinks of me. So
True. Yeah, that's true.
yeah, I'm sure there's someone who I think is like neutral about me, but they're like, no, she's a bitch, but I just don't know that.
Right, of course. What I think is interesting, yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, we don't know what people are thinking, and sometimes we deserve the labels we receive. So that's taking some personal responsibility. What I think is interesting and helpful to consider are those times where they're wrong about us and we're wrong about them. And the and whether that doubt, having that doubt somewhere in us, is helpful in the long term for relationships for others. So I know there are times people label me as enemy, but my assessment of myself is I'm not really that bad of a person. And if they got to know me, I might become a friend to them. And if I can think that about myself, is it helpful to think that about others? And be like, I know that I see them as an enemy now, but I have just enough doubt to create space. I wonder if they could be a friend, if the conditions were different, if we repaired something, if some things were clarified, is it possible? I don't know. It's just an interesting thing I think about personally sometimes. And maybe I'll end it on that. Is there enough doubt to have flexibility, and can that flexibility be useful in the way we assess people? I don't know. This is not a great summary, but it's just something that. So we have to end here. So we'll do this in the last 2 minutes. We'll do sort of more of a traditional Tibetan Buddhist thing. So think about all the energy, effort, time of getting here, of meeting a new group of people, of practicing your patience, if you ended up in the wrong place. All that energy can be beneficial to you as you practice developing patience, inner peace, an open attitude towards people. That person, maybe they could be my friend one day. So all that energy can benefit you, but if it's not dedicated towards a larger project, then it can go off the rails. It can be destroyed. It can not be productive. So then we make a little wish or hope or dedication. It's usually the word that's used in our school of Buddhism. So dedicate. So dedicate all this energy, all these things people have engaged in, volunteers, that we develop patience in our own mind, that we develop a sense of equanimity towards others, that we realize they were once strangers, they were once friends, they could be friends again. And dedicate that all the people in the world, all the beings in the universe, develop a kind of peaceful and open mind towards people. And hopefully that causes people to not react so harshly or severely towards others, that it contributes to inner peace and outer peace as well. Okay, the time is 10:01. It was nice meeting everyone. My plan is to be here next week, and we'll just see what happens. I kind of didn't have this planned, but hopefully it was interesting or useful, and I've got other topics I can do too. So, okay, nice to see you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you all.
Thank you, everyone.